Good morning. Would someone be so kind and remind me why dairy, milk especially, is so wrong? This is JJ Virgin, four-time New York Times bestselling author, celebrity nutrition expert, and fitness Hall of Famer. I've been on a lifelong quest for answers to the toughest health questions. And now I'm sharing what I found with you. Welcome to Ask the Health Expert. Good morning. Would someone be so kind and remind me why dairy, milk especially, is so wrong? I know it's inflammatory, but I always thought it was the casein that made my skin go nuts. Now at almost 50, my skin isn't so much the problem anymore, as much as I notice my gut just seems to stop when I make my homemade Instant Pot yogurt. You guys, it's so good, just plain, no sugar, but I can't poo for days. Why is this? I've tried and tried to make alternative milk yogurt, but it never thickens up like the Greek style I love. This is virtually the only dairy I have in my diet anymore at all, but I may have to go back to none anymore. I'm so sad because the yogurt is so good. Any thoughts? Please educate me again, as it's been a minute since I read The Virgin Diet. Thank you, Julie Dunn from Facebook. Oh man, there's so many things I want to unpack in this question. And I tried to emphasize where she had things in all caps. So hence the enthusiasm for this. And I still remember back when I used to have a little bit of steamed regular milk on my coffee in the morning. And I thought, it's just a little bit, it'll be fine. Pull it out, drop weight, clear up my skin in a week. Wow. So let's deconstruct this. I'll be right back to share my thoughts about dairy. Stay with me. So I actually just grabbed my book, The Virgin Diet, and turned to chapter 5, Dump the Dairy. And I'm going to share a couple things from there. But here's the deal. So the Virgin Diet walks you through the 7 foods that are the most likely culprits to cause food intolerance. And when you have food intolerance, you're reacting to the very foods that you think you're eating to be helpful, but could be hurting you. These cause all sorts of things. Skin issues like acne, gas and bloating, joint pain, constipation or diarrhea, headaches, fatigue. You crave the very foods that are hurting you. Autoimmune triggers can be a strong autoimmune trigger. Joint pain. I think you're getting the story here. And so one of the things that we do in the Virgin Diet is you pull all these foods out for at least 3 weeks, longer, better. And then you go back one by one and you check in, you connect the dots, you see how you feel when you eat that food. Because even if you were to do a food sensitivity test and it said, hey, you're fine, and tests don't really actually say, hey, you're fine, but it would say no result, right? If you eat the food and feel like crap, I don't know what tests you really need. The food's not working for you. And it doesn't mean it won't work for you forever, but it means at this moment in time, you need to heal your gut, because a leaky gut is the key reason we get food intolerance, and then go back and try it again. So just had to point that out, and then I'm going to deconstruct this. So what are the issues with dairy? Well, skin's a big one. And so we know that dairy can cause acne and other skin problems. And that actually isn't the casein in there. The casein tends to be the one that triggers more of the gas and bloating and stuff like that. The dairy in general can impact your skin. And for most people, that's more cow's milk, but it doesn't have to be. It can also be the sheep and the goat. It can also make you gain weight. And this was really interesting. I pulled this study out from Walter Willett's School of Public Health. And I mean, Walter Willett, big, super amazing researcher. He looked at kids who drank 3 servings of skim or 1% milk a day, as opposed to higher fat dairy products, and found that the kids who drank 3 or more servings a day of the skim or non-fat milk were at a higher risk of becoming overweight. They were what tended to be more overweight than the ones who didn't. All right. So then the ones who didn't do anything or did full fat. So part of this we got to look at is if you are going to do dairy at all. So first of all, you take dairy out. It's one of the highest food intolerance foods. When I was looking at food sensitivity testing, dairy and eggs were always at the top, right there with gluten, which is another type of test. If you are going to do dairy, if you find that you don't react to it, which right now I'd say you're reacting to it because it used to be your skin, but it sounds like your skin's okay, but you say isn't so much the problem anymore. So I still want to know about that. But if it's making you constipated, which dairy can constipate you, but doesn't sound like you're going crazy on the intake. So that's pretty interesting that you are constipated for days. That seems more of a food intolerant response. So what we're really looking for is when you're eating these foods, is it causing any of those reactions? If it is, it's not working for you. It could be creating inflammation. We know it can cause weight gain. Part of that is because it can promote insulin resistance. And that, of course, makes you better at storing fat and that can cause weight gain. Then the other crazy part here is what it does to your bones. So we always think, oh, we should drink dairy. It's good for your bones. Well, actually, dairy is very acidic. And when you are eating more acidic foods, it leaches the calcium out of your bones to buffer your pH back to normal. So that's not necessarily the case. So what should we do here? First of all, see how you feel with dairy. If you're doing fine with dairy, you don't have any of those responses. And the only way to know is to pull it out, go through that 3 to 4 week process completely, where it's pulled out completely. I detail this in the Virgin Diet, then go back and challenge it over the course of 4 days. If you start to feel a symptom stop, you've got your answer. If not, let it go for 3 to 4 days. But you're looking for any of those symptoms: constipation, gas and bloating, skin problems, joint pain, headaches, fatigue, craving. Now, clearly we got a craving problem right now because you are having an issue giving this up. And generally, your body will develop these antibodies and they make you crave the very food that is hurting you, Julie, which is what it sounds like is going on. However, if you found out that you weren't having any of those responses, you would then want to make sure that you are eating a quality food product. Grass-fed, pastured cows is where you'd want to get the dairy from. Then you want to not drink milk because that's basically a bunch of sugar. You want to ferment it so that the sugar gets eaten up by the bacteria, right? Ferment it into a yogurt or a kefir like you were doing. That was awesome. And keep the fat in. If you're eating high quality pastured, then the fat you're going to get something called CLA, which is actually can help you burn fat. So there you go. And that was probably the problem with the Dr. Walter Willett study is they were eating the skim and they were having milk, which basically means they pulled the fat out. They kept the sugar in and, then just was giving that to the kids. Not bueno. No bueno. All right. There we go. So my answer is work on making a yogurt that you do like from almond or cashew or oat milk and mess around with some of the different pectins and gelatins to thicken it on up. All right. Happy hunting. Happy fermenting. This is JJ with Ask the Health Expert. I do this 5 times a week, so make sure you never miss a show by going to subscribetojj.com.